Because this project was initially supposed to be to create pieces fairly quickly, that didn't work out. Instead of coming up with completely new ideas and trying to come up with new sketches, I decided to pick my ideas from sketches I'd already done. I have a few of my favourite older ideas displayed in front of me on the wall behind my desk so that I can regularly look at them and they spark inspiration. And sometimes I decide to pick one up and explore it a bit further. You can watch my previous videos to see me talk a little bit more about them, but these are all ideas that I've sort of always wanted to turn into bigger illustrations, so it sort of made sense to choose from that pool of ideas. And then, as I normally do these days, I started working on some thumbnails for each of the concepts that I chose. Our quarantine ends in 2 days now. I decided that to celebrate us being out of quarantine and being okay, the first thing I'm going to do with our newfound freedom is go to a pick your own farm. At the moment we can't have our own vegetable garden and there's only so much I can grow on a windowsill. So going to pick your own farm is a pretty good proxy in the time being, and I'm really excited. I'm pretty sure I'm going to need to charge my car battery. Pretty sure it's dead. That should be charged by Monday, hopefully, and in the meantime I'm going to keep working on those thumbnails. I didn't used to enjoy creating thumbnails for paintings, especially when I already felt like I had a fairly good idea of what I wanted the final composition to look like, but lately I have found that forcing myself to work on at least 3 different options for a composition really helps me visualize different possibilities and develop a concept to its full potential. In the piece you see me doodle here, I initially thought I knew exactly what I wanted the character's pose to be, but you'll see as the piece goes along that I ended up with a completely different result to what I was planning, in big part thanks to creating those thumbnails. While I was working on those thumbnails, I took a quick break to sketch out another idea that had been floating in my head. This concept is a variation on a theme of an older idea of mine that I haven't yet found the final version of. I used to be quite reluctant to explore one concept several times as I get bored of ideas quite quickly and I had an overflow of things I wanted to try out. But in recent months, I found myself keen to redraw and redevelop ideas even if I worked on them previously. I found that there are often several different directions in which an idea can be taken and that each one can show a different side and interpretation, with none being necessarily better or lesser than the next, which lends a wide potential to any given idea. It gives every concept I come up with an endless list of possibilities and opportunities, and whereas I used to be bored by the idea of exploring one concept over and over again, now I find that quite exciting. I also find it a nice exercise to try and come up with fresh versions of the same concept, and a good way to practice thinking creatively. It's also, in essence, the sort of work one would do if working for clients or companies, so it's a good skill to practice all round. Right, so last week I managed to draw all my thumbnails for all 5 pieces. And this week I have been focusing on doing some more detailed sketches of each of the thumbnails that I liked, to see how the idea looked like a bit more fleshed out, because sometimes a thumbnail might look really cool as a small composition and then I convert it to something a little bit bigger and the details don't quite work, some stuff feels a bit iffy to me, or I simply just don't like it, so I then need to go back to the drawing board and try something else. So let me show you. So this sketch here is the first one I decided to explore in thumbnails, and these are the 4 that I came up with. I haven't actually managed to settle on a final composition based on those thumbnails yet. Initially I thought I really liked this pose here, so I created a sketch from it. By doing this more detailed sketch, I realised that the pose wasn't what I wanted to go for. It didn't give off the vibe I want for this particular piece. So going back to my thumbnails, I decided I'm a bit torn between those 2 poses here, although I have a stronger inclination towards this one, so I'll probably explore this one in another more detailed sketch later this week. For the second piece, I explored this sketch here. I tried out different types of compositions. I tried out a full body composition, one where the head would be cut off, and 2 bust compositions. And this second one here was a clear favourite pretty early on. However, I sketched that one out as a bigger sketch, and although I really like this composition, I like the angle of view, I like the hands, I like that the character is looking up and there's a clear view of the heart and the branches going out of it. I do really like the original idea too, because it is sort of calmer, more contemplative. This one is more dramatic, more dynamic. The older one is a bit more still, a bit calmer. I'm a bit torn between the 2, so I'm going to do a sketch more detailed like this of the initial concept and see which one I prefer. Next was this piece. I did only 3 thumbnails for this one because very early on, almost as soon as I finished that thumbnail, it's the one I felt worked. I really like the foot coming forward that breaks the frame of the painting and kind of comes towards the viewer. I do want to change this arm here and have it interact with the slit in the body. But other than that, I really like this image. I tried other poses just to see whether they would give me a stronger feeling, but they didn't, and I kept coming back to this one, so I sketched that out, as you can see here. So this is definitely the strongest contender for the final piece. This one is probably the piece I'm the furthest along with. The 4th piece was this one based on this sketch. I did 4 thumbnails, although pretty immediately I was able to rule out these 2 here. I don't like those compositions, I didn't even finish this sketch. I tried 2 different poses, one that is more of a close embrace and one that has a little bit more of a confrontation sort of composition, and I'm very torn. I don't know which one I prefer. They both sort of give off a different message, different atmosphere. I'm not entirely sure what I want to go for. I'm gonna have to think about it a bit more and do 2 sketches of these 2 in more detail to figure out what I like and what I don't, and what works and what I think doesn't. And then the final painting will actually be based on this sketch instead of the original one I chose. Just because I had this idea while I was drawing, so I sketched it out and it really resonates with me. It's something I want to paint at the moment, so I will be exploring that one as my 5th painting. The only thing I might change are the threads and how they originate from the body, but other than that, this is pretty close to what the final piece will look like. At least I think so at this point. We never know, things change a lot when I work, so we'll see. But this will be my 5th concept. It's Wednesday today, we're about halfway through the day, so the rest of the afternoon is going to be spent on sketching out a few of the other compositions. And my aim for this week will be to finish all my sketches for these 5 paintings and have a final decision on all of their compositions. This weekend or next week I can jump into transferring them to their final paper and start painting. So I think this afternoon I'm gonna work on one of the sketches that relates to this original idea, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, I needed to pick you up again real quick because I am struggling to kind of work on this idea. I need more time. This is not one concept that I want to rush too much. Need more time to sketch it out. I don't want to have to do it this week. I find the time pressure is being counterproductive for this particular concept in a way it's not being for the other ideas for this series. So instead, I think I'm going to explore another simpler sketch that I liked from my wall of sketches. I'm gonna choose this head that is hollow with a spider web inside it. I really like this idea. It's a lot simpler in composition. It has a lot fewer moving parts. So instead I'm gonna explore that one because I think it would make for a good smaller painting, and we'll see where that goes. So I'm not doing Inktober this year. I decided early on in the year that I just didn't have the mental space for it. It's so exhausting. It takes everything out of me every time I do Inktober. That I decided not to do it this year. Plus I want to paint at the moment. That's what I feel like, you know. I don't want to be an ink artist. I love painting. Painting is my thing. If you follow me on Instagram, you may not see as much painting as you do sketches. Sketches are very prevalent on my Instagram. But ultimately, my real thing, and probably you guys on YouTube probably see it more because my videos tend to be focused on my paintings, so it's more apparent on YouTube, but I'm a painter more than an ink artist or even a pencil artist. I like using colour and light and stuff like that. So I'm starting to have more Inktober stuff than I do anything else in my portfolio. So in order for me to stay faithful to the kind of work I want to do, I'm going to focus on painting this year. Anyway, let's get back to the project I was working on in this video. And it's a new week. I have a few sketches to finish for the series, and then I'll be able to work on the final sketches, transfer those, and hopefully start painting this week. We'll see how that goes. But I'm gonna keep my hopes up. It's still Monday. It still feels like there's tons of time left in the week. I know that that is just an illusion, but let me dream. Hopefully I'll be able to start at least one painting this week. We'll see. I better get started. trying to do the sketch, and I'm in one of these moods today where filming is just not working. It's putting a lot of pressure on me. I need to... Sometimes sketching just goes really easily and I'll sketch solidly for a while, and sometimes it just doesn't, and I take a lot of breaks, a lot of pauses, I just stare into the void for a while. And I don't have that much space on my computer, so I can't afford to just film myself do nothing. so filming just stresses me out when I'm in that sort of drawing mood where it's just not constant doing anything, or I can't film like continuously. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna not film this sketch. I'm just gonna work on it at whatever pace I need to work on it at, and I'll show you the results once it's done. Sometimes filming is just not very conductive to being productive, and I think today is one of those days. So I'm going to turn you off, and then I'll pick you up once I'm done with the sketch, and once I've done a bit more progress and kind of got it out of my system and got to a point where I feel a bit happier to film again. Cool, pick you up soon. So I left you yesterday. I thought I'd finish this sketch yesterday, and I didn't. I had a really productive week last week, and generally if I have like a really quite an intense week where I get a lot done, the week after that is a lot slower. I don't know if that productive week just sucks all my energy out, but this week has been a lot slower, a lot more difficult to feel focused. I feel like there's a point in every video I've filmed where I share a day where I'm not that great, but the thing is, these videos that I've been uploading for the past 2 months are filmed over quite a few weeks, generally a month or so. So obviously there's going to be days where I'm not very good. It's not reflective of most days. I go up and down like everyone. There's the days where it goes really, really well. On days where it goes really well, for some reason I don't really feel like mentioning it. Like it doesn't feel noteworthy, you know? I don't know. I feel like we tend to notice our bad days more than we notice our good days. There's a weird standard where we feel like we should always be really productive and energetic and motivated, and so when we are, it just feels like that should be the norm, and then when we're not very well, that sort of productive mindset brings into focus that you're not very well and not very productive, and it emphasizes that side of things, when in reality bad days are just as much part of our routine as good days. They're just gonna happen. It's unavoidable, and it's in fact, I think personally, a little bit damaging to try and avoid feeling bad ever. Sometimes you just need to let whatever's frustrating you, whatever's bringing you down, out, let it affect you for a bit, and then you can move on from it. You can't really just bury everything forever, because that just leads to more problems, but just in the future. Anyway, it's Friday. I haven't managed to paint anything this week. However, I did manage to work on a lot of orders, on a lot of Patreon rewards, a lot of admin stuff. So it was still not a bad week. It just wasn't that great either. I have gotten to a point where I think I'm ready to start working on the final sketches. But first, let's have a quick recap of how far we've gotten, as I feel like things might be getting a tiny bit confusing. So this sketch was explored in 4 thumbnails. I then did this first sketch, and then this second one, which was the one I settled on for the final character pose. Then this concept was explored in 3 different thumbnails, and I then picked the first thumbnail and did a bigger sketch of that. The next concept was explored in 4 different thumbnails, and I then abandoned that idea in favour of this simpler one, which I only did 1 sketch of and then explored it more in Procreate. Then came this third concept, which I explored in 4 different thumbnails, and I then created 2 more finished sketches to explore different types of poses and compositions. And for the 5th painting, I had initially chosen this concept, which I then abandoned in favour of this new idea, and then settled on this final pose. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to figure out what size I want to paint each piece, and then I'm going to scan all my drawings, and I'm going to bring them into Photoshop, and I'm going to paste them onto a Photoshop canvas of the same size as the real life canvas I'm going to do the final paintings on, and then I'll resize and print the sketches, and then I'll transfer them to my final paper. Yeah. It's Saturday and I have one big task to do today, and that is install my new desk. This company, Flexispot, got in touch with me and asked if I would like to try out one of their standing desks in exchange for obviously showing them in a video, which is what I'm doing now. I really happily said yes. I'm not used to sitting for extended periods of time. I don't like it. So I've always wanted a standing desk, but I've never really been able to justify the purchase because there's always stuff that takes precedence, like bills and food. So when Flexispot got in touch, I was quite excited because I really like a standing desk. It arrived last week. I spent a little while putting it together. It was fairly straightforward, similarly to an IKEA piece of furniture. Pretty easy to put together. I would recommend having someone else with you if you do so, because it is quite a heavy piece of furniture. We did have a small issue with one of the components not quite fitting where it was supposed to, but that's not too much of an issue. It's not budging. The desk works fine, so you know, it was fine. Other than that, everything went well. So I wanted to wait a few days to update you on how the desk is working out. It's actually been a few weeks now. But that way I can give you like an accurate report on how I'm using it and how I'm liking it and how it's working and all that. And honestly, I genuinely couldn't be happier. It's so fun. It's so useful. I'm using it all the time. It's genuinely fantastic. No complaints whatsoever about the product. Really, really happy. The desktop is not quite as big as I would like it to be. They didn't send me their biggest size of desktop, which makes sense, but if I ever want to purchase something a little bit bigger, I can. They do have a bigger size available. And the actual feature of the desk that I was looking forward to, which is the lifting and lowering, so good. My favourite part, personally, is the fact that you can pre-program height. So you don't have to press the button, wait for it to lift up to the height you want or lower or whatever. You can pre-program it, so you can set a specific height for each button and then you just press it and it will lift itself on its own or lower itself on its own. Really, really cool. Genuinely so grateful for you guys because you make me receiving stuff like that possible, really. So thank you so much. And thank you to Flexispot for sending it to me. There's a link in the description to their website and also to my particular model of desk if you would like to check it out. We'll see in 6 months if I'm still making it go up and down. You never know, I might get lazy. But in the meantime, really, really like it. Highly recommend it. Super happy to have one. And yeah, let's move on. Okay, so I think I'm gonna end this video now because it's already long as it is. This is future me, editing me. I spent 4 days editing this video so far, and I have so much footage left. I could shorten what I've already edited. I could take out all the nice cooking shots and shots of me having a normal life and stuff, but I don't want to. I have so much more fun making videos that are a little bit longer, in which I show you more of what's going on, so I could shorten everything I've edited so far, but I don't really want to, so I'm not gonna. That does mean that I'm gonna end this video here and I'll upload another video in like a week or two that will include all the paintings that I've created from this series, or at least a few of them, depending on how much footage I have. Right now, as I'm talking to you, we are about a month later after the last footage you've seen in this vlog, and I've painted 3 of the pieces, and I have to revisit 2 of them because I haven't even got a final sketch done for those. I changed my mind so many times on those last 2 paintings that I kind of need to go back to the drawing board and create new sketches for them. Sorry, I'm gonna leave you here. I'm sorry I didn't show you the paintings. I was hoping to make a long vlog with all the paintings in it, but since I haven't even painted them all yet, I think it's probably better if I put them all in one other vlog. So you'll have seen all the prep work in this video you just watched, and then the next video will be of me actually painting the pieces. If you don't want to wait until then, the few I have managed to paint so far are on my Instagram. Sorry, I hope this is not too disappointing. It is a bit disappointing to me, but also I get to edit another video that won't come out in like 3 months time. So that's a plus, I suppose. Yeah, sorry, I'm rambling because I haven't eaten yet. It's 3 in the afternoon and I haven't had any food since 8 this morning because I was trying to scramble to get this video done and stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna leave you here. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really grateful to all of you for being so amazing and literally the best audience anyone can ask for. Like, genuinely every day I'm just like, how are people so nice to me? Thank you so much. I'll see you very soon. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comments and see you in a week or 2 weeks. I'm not sure yet, but I'll do my best for it to be as soon as possible. Mwah. See you soon. Bye.